Hey guys, welcome to the Liberal Hive Mind, a channel solely focused on exposing the abundant hypocrisy of the left. Folks, we've been getting a bunch of credible reports about CNN, the new leadership group, and of course Brian Stelter. Reports Brian Stelter's days at CNN are allegedly numbered. And we've also been getting reports that as Brian Stelter realizes this, he's intent on burning the whole place down, causing problems and internal revolts. And so maybe that's the greatest indicator. Maybe when you know that your time's up, when you have nothing more to lose, when there's bad blood, you might seek revenge, at least certain individuals might, and maybe that's the greatest clue. Well, if we take that from Chris Cuomo and of course Brian Stelter, and then apply it to who's probably next on the chopping block, none other than worst journalist of the year 2017, 2018, and 2019, Don Lemon, it's possible that under the new ownership group which just took over, that Don Lemon is also realizing that his days are numbered. He has been on his best behavior. When Don Lemon is being Don Lemon, well then we would have been making video after video like we always do. If Don Lemon is actually speaking his true self, then it's always content. It's always ridiculous. But over the last couple of months, since Don Lemon's show got reshuffled in the schedule, since his butt buddy Chris Cuomo's firing, Don Lemon has been on his best behavior. I mean, we haven't heard a peep from the guy. He's even had some decent moments where he grilled Karine Jean-Pierre and was for the first time in years acting like a real journalist. But now, all of a sudden, Don Lemon seems to have shifted his tone. It seems like Don Lemon could only suppress the real Don Lemon for so long or so much until the real person resurfaces. And that's exactly what just happened. And what I'm thinking is that Mr. Lemonhead at this point doesn't have anything to lose anymore. And it's possible that with the new ownership group taking over, that he's next on the chopping block, his days are possibly limited at the network. And so he's going full throttle Lemonhead ahead and no longer cares. Let me show you guys this ridiculous moment with one of our favorite CNN leftist actors. I got some stuff to show you, so let's roll the tape. Alright friends, so after months of Don Lemon being under the radar, he finally resurfaces. Honestly, in a certain way, I kinda miss him. CNN's Don Lemon defends media bias. If we don't, we are not doing our jobs.
We sit around and we talk about these things and we want to give this false equivalence to Democrats and Republicans. That is not where we are right now. Republicans are doing something that is very dangerous to our society. And we have to acknowledge that. We have to acknowledge that as Americans. We must acknowledge that as journalists, because if we don't, we're not doing our jobs. We cannot sit here and pretend like, well, Republicans, cut them a break. We want to hear whatever. They have a lot to answer for in this moment. A lot to answer for what happened with the former president of the United States, why they allowed his antics to go on for so long, why he is not accountable, why they go along with it and don't say anything. They've got to answer for that. The GOP is becoming more and more associated with extremists and radicals.
Oh man, there is so much to unpack here. We want to give this false equivalence to Democrats and Republicans. In what universe is that an accurate statement at all? In what universe is CNN fair and impartial in their coverage? I mean, he says that as the literal new owner of CNN is on the record publicly stating that CNN is in fact a left-wing network and that he wants to take it back to real neutral news. I mean, the headline says it all. CEO of CNN's new owner calls network later in the news to the left. That's of course the first ridiculous claim that came out of Don Lemon's facehole. The second one is the idea that he's a journalist. Don Lemon claims that journalists like him should be criticizing and scrutinizing Republicans. Don Lemon says that he's a journalist while claiming that Republicans are a danger to society. That to me sounds like the opposite of journalism. That sounds like fear-mongering propaganda BS. There is no evidence to suggest any of that. And of course the irony, I gotta point it out once again, I'm so tired of saying it, to say something like that as left-wing activists are currently hunting down SCOTUS judges and everything else that we've seen from the violent radical left proves how much of a clown Don Lemon really is when he's allowed to be his true self. The reality is, people like Don Lemon call themselves journalists, but they don't want to be journalists. They want to change the definition of a journalist to Democrat partisan shill Hill, whose job it is to vengefully attack the right wing and to slander and demonize them. That's the reality. What a journalist does is avoid opinion entirely. You know what I'm never gonna do, personally? I'm never gonna call myself a journalist, because I'm not. I'm a person with opinions, and I say my opinions online. Deceptive Don is the exact opposite. He pretends as if he's educating you and giving you the fair, neutral news, while doing nothing but pushing propaganda, slander, defamation, exaggeration, fear-mongering, and opinion. What a journalist does is approach all of this stuff blank, neutral, report merely on what the facts are. Let's say he was reporting on someone else who was giving opinions, someone who's saying that Republicans are a danger and a threat to democracy. I mean, it's not exactly hard to find. It's pretty much the main Democrat talking point. Actually, here's the latest clip of Nancy Pelosi.
Our country is at risk. Our democracy is at risk. But what we are campaigning on are the kitchen table issues that affect America's working families. So they know the difference between a Democratic and Republican administration, on top of Congress, on top of which our democracy is at stake.
Well, what Don Lemon would do if he was a real journalist, well, he'd say something along the lines of Nancy Pelosi leading Democrat rhetoric claiming Republicans are a danger to democracy. Republicans respond, as this is yet another political game and propaganda and blah blah blah. He'd provide both elements. He wouldn't inject his own opinion. He would merely say, this is what these people are saying, this is what these people are saying, and then end it there, nothing else. But what Don Lemon is saying is, I, as a journalist, am going to tell you what I personally believe, that Donald Trump is literally Hitler, ma insurrection, ma threat to democracy, ma right-wing extremes. Lock your kids up, folks. And it shows you just how much of a clown Don Lemon is, and how fundamentally discredited and unserious CNN is as an organization. The entire premise of CNN, the most trusted name in news, is deceptive. They're liars. I mean, not only do they lie in individual stories and misrepresent the truth, but the entire premise, the whole structure of the organization is a lie, because of their failure to make the clear distinction between what is opinion and what is fact and what is neutral journalism. You cannot make the distinction. And really, it's not on the viewer, it's not on the reader, who many times is uneducated and just not really paying attention. It's not on them to make that distinction. That is CNN's responsibility. My channel is clearly editorial. I will never, ever promote myself as a neutral source on any of this stuff. That is the exact opposite of what my channel is. My channel is dedicated to exposing all of the lies, all of the phony narratives, all of the BS that I see on the left that push me away from it. It's a glimpse into my personal opinions and political journey. That is the stated description of my channel. CNN tells you otherwise, and then promotes nothing but Democrat talking points, fear-mongering, and all kinds of garbage that isn't journalism. You know, it's just like the clip that I played for you guys yesterday from Brian Stelter's show, bringing on Mrs. Hemmer, who said this.
Well, one of the big ones is speculation. All of this
like
speculation.
This, right now.
Right now.
Whether he's going to enter the race this weekend.
It doesn't matter. Him being in the race matters. When he decides to be in the race, doesn't. There are much bigger issues to focus on, including what are the consequences of him potentially becoming president again.
That's not journalism. That's not a neutral approach. That shows you exactly how corrupt the system is. We really need to be focused on one thing, the potential danger and consequences of another Trump administration. That is deeply biased. And it's almost as if they've been lying to themselves for such a long time that they're journalists, that they believe it and they don't realize how ridiculous and corrupt they look. And that's why I fault CNN. That's why CNN is the worst. Because of the deception. You know, let's draw a comparison. For all intents and purposes, MSNBC is worse than CNN. I mean, here's a headline just from today. Malcolm Nance claims Republicans are the party of insurgency and declares that Americans may have to fight their neighbors who want to end them. I mean, this kind of absolutely insane rhetoric is nonstop from MSNBC. But you know what? It's actually acceptable. It sounds crazy, but it is. Because MSNBC is opinion. NBC News is the affiliate of MSNBC that isn't opinion. That's my understanding of it. Correct me if I'm wrong. If you're a wacko leftist who believes all of these deranged ideas and conspiracy theories, MSNBC is the place for you. I mean, that's the point of the network. That's what that network is. And based on freedom of speech and freedom of expression, go for it. As long as they don't break the law, in my opinion, at certain points, maybe they have in terms of defamation and slander, or of course over calls to violence. that shouldn't be supported, but their basic leftist lunacy and their terrible opinions go on right ahead. CNN, on the other hand, is a scam. And that's basically my opinion, and my speculation is that as the new ownership finally takes over, I think just last week, maybe I'm wrong on that, but it was very recent, I think Worst Journalist of the Year 2020 and 2021, Brian Stelter, and Worst Journalist of the Year 2019, and Worst Journalist of the Year 2017, 2018, and 2019, Don Lemon, are up next on the chopping block, and their days at CNN are numbered. We'll just have to see how the whole thing plays out. That's what I got for you guys, though. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.